Hello, my name is Julia Hauser. I'm in pre-law and legal studies, and today I will be interviewing you. So is it alright if I ask you a few questions?
Sure.
Alright, so what is your name?
My name is Emily Hauser.
What is your occupation?
I am a nurse.
So what does your job entail?
So I am a home health nurse. So this job entails going into people's homes. I do things for them like fill up pill organizers or pill safes so that they know that they've taken their medications correctly. Also, if people have wounds, I do wound care. Sometimes they have wound vacs, sometimes they have drains. Also, doing things, of course, checking vital signs, blood sugars, calling doctors with any problems. Some people are on certain blood thinners that require them to have blood tests every so often, typically every 2 weeks, or weekly, that I go and check their blood, call the doctor with reports on it, and then adjust their meds accordingly. Things of that nature. Pretty much anything we can do to keep them from having to go to a long-term care facility or to the hospital.
So what is your favorite part of your job?
My favorite part of home health is the people. You get really close with them. You're spending large amounts of time with them. They become like your family. It's like having a big group of aunts, uncles, and then really helping them. Like sometimes it's more than just medical things. You help them emotionally. It's really whole body care. Even down to, some patients will have groceries ordered and delivered at the time they know I'm going to be there, so I can help them get their groceries in, put it away, taking out trash. Things that you don't think about that you're going to be doing, but those little things that you do can really improve people's lives.
Okay, so what made you want to work in the medical field?
Honestly, at first, I know I'm not ancient old, but I'm kind of old. It almost seemed like those were the only careers for women. That, you could be a nurse or you could be a teacher. And I knew I didn't want to be a teacher. But, I don't feel bad about it because I love being a nurse.
So what did you not expect about the profession that you found have been true?
The most surprising thing for me was when you go to nursing school, there's this phrase that they teach you, and it is that nurses eat their young. And it is so true. When you're a baby nurse, there's a lot of bullying, jealousy sometimes from older nurses, just a lot of, they're waiting for you to make a mistake. And instead of teaching you the right things to do, they just cannot wait to tell on you when you do screw up. And, I was warned about it, but I never thought it would actually happen until I got out there. It was shocking to see grown women act like jealous high school girls.
Yeah. Would you say that happens a lot?
I would say it happens a lot. Yeah. Yeah. It happened to me a lot.
So how do you balance your work and personal life?
That's a hard one. Typically, nurses do 3 12-hour shifts a week. It's never 12 hours. It's 13, 14, 15 hours. You go home. Sometimes you eat. You take a shower. You go to bed. You get up and do it all over again. So when I was working like that, and then it was also every other weekend. So you pretty much miss your kid's life. You miss your life, and you don't have a personal life. And that is part of the reason why I went to home health, because I only worked one weekend every 6 weeks or so. It was normal 9 to 5 hours. It was making your own hours. And that's how I ended up balancing it and being able to be home. Before that, there was no personal life. There was work and go home and shower and sleep.
Yeah. So what would you say is the least satisfying part of your job is?
Well, that was pretty unsatisfying. That's a hard one because so much of it is so satisfying. The nurse is eating you when you're a baby nurse. That's pretty unsatisfying. I don't know. It's all satisfying. Even if you don't have a good outcome, it's satisfying. If your patient dies, you know you were there for them. You know you did everything, you know. So unsatisfying, you know, sometimes doctors are mean to you. That's not very satisfying. I called one time to report a patient with a low pulse. It was extremely low. He was symptomatic. He did not look good. And the doctor told me I couldn't count and hung up on me. Yeah. I was pretty angry about that. So I called back, chewed him out, sent the patient to the hospital. Patient died. But I can count.
So what do you do? Like, how do you handle a patient death?
How do you handle a patient death?
Yeah.
You mean like emotionally or?
Just how do you cope with it?
Everybody dies.
Yeah.
So for me personally, it's not that hard. Like, I mean, you kind of know everybody dies. I knew from the beginning I'm not going to be taking care of healthy people. There's sick people. And they're gonna die. Of course, if it's a young person, it's hard. It's hard when certain people you're attached to more than other people. It's hard seeing their family suffer and be sad. But at the end of the day, you gotta know that you did everything you could, and hopefully that you took away pain for them. I think a lot of times is the best you can hope for, is easing suffering rather than your goal to be keeping someone alive, because it's an unattainable goal. We're all gonna die.
Yeah. Okay, so what would you say is the most important lesson you learned in your career?
Probably to be nice to people. I feel like being a nurse has made me a kinder person. Sometimes you just take things out on other people, or you're just snappy to people, or you're not understanding when someone snaps at you. It kind of makes you realize that we're all going through stuff, and no matter what it looks like on the outside, everybody has pain, everybody's suffering in some way. And when you see it firsthand, it makes you more aware of it in strangers and in your patients. To, you know, when people are hurting or upset, a lot of people lash out. And if you can control your emotions, you can help them more. So that's the biggest thing I think I've learned from being a nurse.
Yeah. So what piece of advice would you give to someone who wants to work in the medical field?
The biggest advice that I give people, and as you know, your sister wants to be a nurse, and I've told her, you know, it's not, I feel like it's a career that's romanticized a lot, and there is absolutely nothing romantic about it. It is gross. It's dirty. It's thankless a lot. And it's extremely emotional. It's not a job that you can go to work, do your job, and come home. It follows you. It stays with you every second of your life. You're thinking about your patients. So, you know, not only is it physically challenging, sometimes it's extremely emotionally challenging. Extremely hard job in that respect. And that's the biggest advice I give people. Like, make sure that your heart can handle it, because it's hard on your heart.
Yeah. Well, that concludes the rest of our interview. Well, I want to thank you for coming along and answering my questions. That was good.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.